Good afternoon, everyone. The Marion Chamber of Commerce and the City of Marion are proud to partner on the Morris F. Neighbor Community Impact Award. The award is named in recognition of longtime banker Morris F. Neighbor. Morris began his career at Farmers State Bank in 1945 as a teller, and in 1968, he and his wife, Betty, purchased the bank. Throughout his career, he championed the importance of philanthropy, volunteerism, and community. This award is designed to honor someone who makes a positive difference in the lives of residents, continually volunteers in the Marion community, demonstrates the spirit of collaboration, and models integrity, exemplary character, and leadership. This year's recipient of the Morris F. Neighbor Community Impact Award has made a profound impact in the lives of many. It is my honor to announce Nancy A. Miller as the 2025 Community Impact Award recipient. Nancy, will you please join us on stage? Yep.
Nancy Miller has a long history of advocating for Marion residents and making contributions toward the advancement of the community. She's been a member of the Marion Public Library Board of Trustees for more than 30 years. In addition, she's a member of the Marion Public Library Foundation Board of Directors and the Cedar Rapids Iowa City Friendship Force Club. In 1994, when Nancy received an inheritance from her mother, she considered where it could make the biggest impact. That year, Nancy provided a $500,000 donation that jump-started the effort to build a new Marion Public Library. She later contributed an additional $150,000, making her donation the largest received for that facility, which opened in 1996. And for the next 24 years, the Nancy A. Miller Marion Public Library proudly served the community. As a mother and longtime second-grade teacher, Nancy's commitment to education and reading inspired her gift and decades of community volunteerism. When the community had outgrown the Nancy A. Miller Public Library, Nancy put aside her personal connection with the building and became a champion for the new library building. To this day, she's a regular volunteer at the library, an advocate for library users with disabilities, and one of the biggest cheerleaders, which welcomed nearly 180,000 visitors in the last year alone. Thank you, Nancy, for your generosity and commitment to our community, and congratulations.
I have never, ever done this before. Most of my audiences have been 7-year-olds in a classroom at St. Pius. We talk about impact that the wonderful Neighbors family did. In fact, last Saturday, my friend Les and I, my partner, we were at the library when the Red Cedar Chamber performed in the Morris Neighbor wonderful culinary kitchen big area, giving music. It was filled all ages, from little to big. We talk about impact, and I want to briefly, and people that know me briefly is hard for me, but I'll try to be brief. 2 things in my life that impacted this gift. And a lot of people don't know a lot of this. Very sadly, in the summer between kindergarten and first grade in my hometown of Manitowoc, Wisconsin, Green Bay Packerland, a young girl, 9 years old, came to visit Grandpa and Grandma next door, and just, she's from Phoenix with her dad. One thing led to another. Won't go into a lot of details, but an accident happened, and she shot an arrow in my eye. And it was, of course, extremely traumatic. This was in 1947, just after the war, I'm 81. And it has focused my whole life forever. What happened is Manitowoc Hospital didn't know what to do with me. A man flew myself and a little boy that had BB shot in his eyes accidentally by his older brother practicing. So always in my classroom, we talked about BBs and sharp things and being safe. Flew us to the Children's Hospital in Madison. Didn't know what to do with us, and I ended up living 2 years at Mayo Hospital. Remember, this is 1947 after the war. Going home at times to my parents. I was blind in both eyes. The arrow had gone in, and just, I went from a blood clot, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so now I'm a blind child. I did not go to first and second grade normally. I was up at Mayo Clinic. What impact did Mayo Clinic have on me? Every day, either nurses or women volunteers, remember I'm little, I'm 5, read me books. And so I could imagine in my mind what the animals or the houses or that, and they built a tremendous imagination in my mind. And I'll never forget the value and importance of books when I was at my lowest point in my life as a little girl. Okay, the happiness is that would have been like spring of the second grade. The blood clot and all the damage healed, and I have vision in the one eye, but never this eye. So I'm just a one-eye Jack, as the boys would call me, pirate girl, because I wore a black patch all during grade school. Okay, that inspired me about sharing, reading, speaking. Now it's jumped many years ahead, and I have my mother at Mercy Hallmar, and this is 1992. My parents had owned a furniture store in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, the only furniture store in our little city. They were very good friends with the Smolukoffs, being in the furniture business. And my mother was at Hallmar, and we had her every weekend. My late husband, Stephen Miller, some of you might know him. And I went up to bring up the spring clothes. It was Holy Week in April of 1992. And get her winter clothes, and she says, "Nancy, sit down, I want to talk to you." She was kind of serious. She was very frail. She was 84. She says, "Someday, I don't know when, but maybe soon, you and your sister are going to get a lot of money. What would you do with this money?" And I thought about it, and I know my parents had been very generous once their store had become profitable, the furniture store, and it helped build a Catholic high school and other things. And my sister, who's now deceased, was very prominent in building a school in Pewaukee, I believe it is, outside of Milwaukee. And so I said to her, what I would like to do is I want to build a new library for Marion. I have been volunteering in the summertime when I wasn't at St. Pius. I was 15 years at St. Pius. And they're in the 1905 Andrew Carnegie Library. That's almost 100 years. And so many people have been so good to me through the blindness, through everything. If I ever write a book, I want to call it, I Wanted to Do Good, and highlight all the people that helped me along the way to be able to be good and helpful. And my mother, who got up, gave me a big kiss, she says, "I think that is a wonderful idea." She died 2 weeks later. So I felt I got my blessing. So I speak with my family. I did indeed inherit $1 million, which is lots of digits for me, a second grade teacher. I don't know much about math. It was huge. And spoke with my family, and I chose to give 65% of it to the city of Marion. Now, there's a wonderful lady and family that lived next door to Stephen and I in Bowman Woods, Susan Kling. And she was the Marion Library director for 24 years. And so I remember that once the money came through, worked with Gary Strait. He's a wonderful lawyer, to arrange this gift. And I called up Susan. She'd come home from work, and I says, "Have Bill make some cocktails. I'm going to tell you something, and I think you're going to be happy." "Well, what is it?" "I'm not going to tell you. Just get the cocktails out and get comfortable. I have news to tell you." So outside of my family, she was the second one to know. And then the third was wonderful Vic Kloppenstein. So all you people have been wonderful. And then it just rolled forward. I did not renew my teaching contract, and I gave my everything to the project. And I just really felt this miracle is happening. This miracle is happening. The wonderful response of the city, the city council, but all the residents that donated to the capital campaign for that library. And I remember one time we were at the farmers market. This is when we're getting money. I worked with George Lau in the capital campaign for that building. And he had crumpled $20 in his pocket, and he said, Mrs. Miller, I've been mowing lawns. Now I want, when that library gets open, here's $20, buy good books. So I could keep talking, but I'm not going to. But the power of libraries and reading, and I always say to people, even before mathematics, and you don't want to say this with all the Rockwell engineers roaming around when a lot of them sent their kids to St. Pius, the number one subject to teach first and never stop is reading. And I firmly believe in that. And libraries, my little word is one of the most democratic institutions left in the United States. A public library entertains and inspires. It does so much more than even books, like going to the concert, that the generosity that Morris did to support that room. So I'm going to say thank you very much. I am overwhelmed. My little toes are kind of shaking. But that is my story, and maybe I will write that book that I wanted to do good, and it would be about all of you that traveled with me to get this brand new, and then the brand new library is over the top. It is a community center. So if you haven't been there, you've been very bad. The teacher tells you, you need to go. You need to go. They'll teach you cooking, they'll give you books, you have music, you have electric bicycles. Oh my God, you have everything there. Thank you. I probably talked too long, but thank you.